Hey guys, Michael Hyatt here. Good to see you guys again today. Hope you're having a great day. I am. I've had a very productive morning. Oh, I forgot to put on my little slide thing here. So let me do that. Can you guys hear me okay? I've got a little microphone on here today. So I realize I have my back to you, but let me get this up so you guys can see it. All right. That was a little weird. So it sounds good. Good. Tell you what, in the comment box, put your name in all caps and tell me where you're from, because I can't quite read the names. It's so scaled back. Somebody from Kentucky, from Malaysia, Michelle from Malaysia. Emily from Dallas, Carol from Philly, Josh Fisher from Oklahoma City, Claire from Dubai. Awesome. So fast. Oh my gosh. I can't keep up with it. Jordan from Arizona. Cornelius from North Carolina. Nancy from Wichita. Somebody from Puerto Rico. David from Indianapolis. Stephen from Alabama. Wow. This is awesome. I love doing this with you guys. I hope that it's really helpful. In case you're joining for the first time and you don't know me, my name is Michael Hyatt. I'm the author of the New York Times bestseller platform, Get Noticed in a Noisy World. I also blog at michaelhyatt.com. And what else can I tell you? I'm the founder of Platform University. I've created a couple of online courses. Most of my career I've spent in the book publishing world, but I'm now in my second career as an online trainer and marketer. So anyway, good to see you guys today. Hey, Niels from Copenhagen here again. Awesome to see you again. Somebody said they love my podcast. That's from you, Emily. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's very kind. My podcast, by the way, Season 5, Episode 1, launches tomorrow. I'm so pumped up about it. So it'll be available for all you guys to listen to it. We took a hiatus last week, and so I'm just getting back to it starting tomorrow. So Season 5, I think, we'll see, but I think it's the best ever. And my podcast downloads have really been growing. We're up to about 300,000 a week now, which is just awesome. Somebody said, could you do a teaching on podcast? Yeah, let's talk about that one day. I will talk about podcasts. In fact, we might talk about that some tomorrow, because we're going to talk about that specific podcast tomorrow. But we can just talk about podcast in general. Somebody just thanked me for including the transcripts. Yes, we do include the transcripts, and I think that's really helpful for people that just want to get to the content really quickly. Carol Lynn from Halifax. Hey, somebody else watching. Nate from Nashville. So the rules for this session, they're going to be really easy. But if you've got a question, put 2 question marks at the beginning of your comment, then your name in all caps, and then ask me your question. That way I can, recognize you, and I know that it's a question and not just a shout out. So more people coming in. Somebody from Houston, from Los Angeles. Jason from India. Wow. I'm trying to think what time it might be in India. That makes my head hurt. Hello from Scotland. Big fan of your podcast. I love Scotland, one of my favorite countries in the world. We rented a car one time and drove through northern and western Scotland, spent a lot of time in the Isle of Skye. It was fantastic. Alvaro from Costa Rica. Somebody says they're having trouble falling asleep. Do I have any tips? Okay. So here's what I want to talk about today, just for a few minutes, and then we'll just open it as a free-for-all, and you guys can ask whatever questions you want. By the way, this is going to be a 30-minute Skype, 30-minute scope, and I'll keep it to that. So we'll finish promptly at the top of the hour. If you would share this scope with your friends, I'd be grateful. On an iOS device, you just need to swipe to the right. And on an Android device, you can swipe down, but then share it with your friends. That'd be awesome. Okay, first question's coming in from Camelot 100. Is it okay to sleep in the afternoon while making only 4 hours sleep? I just lost it. At night, I'm assuming? Yeah, it's better if you can get a long period of sleep all at once, like 8 hours. I mean, there's a reason why 8 hours is recommended. And if you can do that and then also get a little nap, that's what I do. I think it's a tremendous way to do it as well. So the importance of sleep. Sleep has been correlated with everything from health, heart health in particular, to greater productivity, to being able to focus on what you're doing. And I mean, you know how it is. When you get tired, it seems like you have to keep reading the same paragraphs again and again. It's more difficult, to just stay focused and to stay on task. You're more easily distracted. All this has been empirically proven. So a good night's sleep is really important for greater productivity. And sometimes you think, and I know I used to be in this camp, if I could just cut my sleep back by about 2 hours a night, if I could get by on, 5 or 6 hours sleep a night, I could free up 2 hours a day to be more productive, right? Wrong. It's a false economy. It doesn't work. You'll be way, way, way less productive. Shola says, I only get 4 hours of sleep. Is it okay? Not if you want to be healthy. Not if you want to be productive. There may be a few random people out there that can do that, but it's not sustainable. Susan says, how are you monetizing Periscope? I'm not. I'm not. I'm just, for me, this is like my blog. How do I monetize my blog? I suppose you could say I monetize it because I'm connecting with readers and ultimately getting them to trust me so that when I come back and sell stuff, people pay attention. Somebody asked me if my podcasts were for free, and yes, absolutely, they're for free. So one of the things I wanted to point out here about sleep, the challenge is how can you get that much of it? And so what I want to do is share with you from a blog post that we reposted today, and I'm going to give you some tips, I'm going to give you some tools, and I'm going to give you even an all-organic, natural way to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, okay? I'm going to be revealing that just a little bit later in this scope. So the post I did today, I referenced, and you can find it up here at michaelhyatt.com/sleep. It's called 6 Strategies to Sleep Soundly, Wake Rested, and Accomplish More. So let me just quickly give those to you. Number 1, get committed. You got to get committed. You got to start with the intention, and this is so true with almost everything. You got to have an intention that you're going to sleep more. And again, I recommend 7.5 to 8 hours, more if you can get it, but sleep is good. It starts with an intention. Number 2 is set an alarm, not for when you're going to wake up, but when you're going to stop and start getting ready for bed. So this is not something I've had to do, but I know it's been very successful for a lot of people. Steve said, do you keep your iPhone off at night? Absolutely. I've got it set so that nothing can get through on my iPhone except my family members. If they call me, it'll ring through. Everybody else, not so much. Okay, so Eric Coop said, what do you do about a spouse who has bedtime procrastination? By the way, I think there's a huge value in going to bed together if you're married. And not just for sleep, if you know what I mean. So, it's helpful if you can do that. I think it also gets you on the same cycle. I don't know, Gail and I lay down together and, we usually pray before we go to bed or go to sleep at night. We debrief on the day. We ask things like I talked about yesterday about, what was your best thing that you did today, or what are you most proud of that you accomplished? Sometimes we'll ask, was there a disappointment today? But we use it as a time to debrief before we fall asleep. So there's a lot of benefits of going together, and sometimes you just have to have that discussion. Somebody said lavender oil is great for sleeping. Going to get to that in a minute because I totally agree with you. Okay, so set an alarm is a great way to do it. An alarm, and mutually agree if you're married with your spouse that you're going to go to bed when that alarm goes off. Number 3, and this is what I'm a huge believer on, establish a ritual. Establish a ritual. So, maybe for you it's getting a warm bath or some herbal tea or prayer and devotions or just a novel that you only read at bedtime, not something that's going to, set your mind on fire so you can't sleep, because that sometimes happens. As I said, processing the day with your spouse in bed. So that's number 3. Number 4, get more exercise, but not right before you go to sleep, because that's just going to amp you up and it's going to keep you from going to sleep quickly. But if you exercise in the day, like I exercise first thing in the morning, I get way better sleep as a result of that, and I think you will too. Number 5, kill the lights. You know, we turn off all the electronic devices. We have a very faint clock light. That's it. We have blackout shades. We want it completely blacked out. Any light will keep you awake because your body just responds to it intuitively. And then number 6 is blow off work. And what I mean by that is just don't be working before you go to bed or right up until the moment you go to bed, because if your mind is anything like me, I can't turn it off. So I want to talk about some practical tools here quickly, and then I'll take your questions. I do use essential oils. I'm not an essential oil distributor. I don't have a dog in the hunt, though. Full disclosure, I do have 3 daughters that are work for doTERRA, so I get all my advice from them. But I use 3 different essential oils. I use one called vetiver, and it's a real earthy smelling thing. And then I use frankincense, and then I use lavender. Now I put vetiver on the soles of my feet. This may be like TMI. I put the frankincense and the lavender on my big toe. I put it on my wrist right here. I put it on my temples and then behind my ears. And it's awesome. And I put a little lavender also on my pillow case. And sometimes I take a bath before I go to sleep, and I'll put lavender in the water, which is awesome. Okay, so another thing, okay, this is a true confession. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I had such a hard time sleeping when I hit about maybe 45 or so. I just had a hard time turning off my brain. I couldn't get to sleep. And then I would wake up after 3 or 4 hours. Finally, I went to the doctor and I got a prescription for Ambien. I took Ambien almost every night for over a decade. I'm not proud to admit it, although I will say this. My doctor said to me, it's more important that you get a good night's rest for the sake of your heart and for the sake of your rest of your health than anything else. So don't worry about it too much. But there's a lot of side effects with Ambien. I know people that, sort of wake up and sleepwalk and don't remember anything, and there's all that kind of thing too. But I went to a physician's assistant here in Nashville named Danny Williamson that got me completely off Ambien with this non-prescription herbal remedy, and I don't know if it'll work for you. All I can say is it's worked for me, it's working for Gail, and it's unbelievable. And here's what it is. It's called Cavanase Ultra PM. You probably can't see that. Cavanase, K-A-V-I-N-A-C-E. K-A-V-I-N-A-C-E. One of these capsules right before I go to sleep, and I am out. I go out quickly. I stay out for about 7 or 8 hours. And it's been awesome. It's all natural, and it's made by a company called Neuroscience. You can order it online. It's not cheap. It's about $50 for a bottle, which is 30 capsules. But not getting a good night's sleep is not cheap either. You know, it's expensive in other ways. I don't know what all the ingredients are. I tried to look at that earlier, but what it does do, and you can look at all this online and find out, says promotes healthy sleep, helps maintain melatonin, GABA, and serotonin levels, and helps manage stress and anxiety. So, there you have it. You know, it may be worth a shot, but the rituals are critical. So, Kava, somebody said, yes, I've tried that, and I suspect that this has some of that on there as well. Can you put that on your website? No, I don't think I'm going to. Sorry, I don't think it's enough to write about, and so I probably won't do that. Michelle said, I'm working on getting off sleeping aids too. It's totally possible. I don't do any of that anymore. I just take the Cavanase, and it's been great. Manny said, subscribe to your podcast and can't stop listening. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I'm sorry. No, I'm really grateful. So he said, I can't sleep because of Harry and Lewis from 1D. I have no idea what that means. I'm sure it's funny to somebody. Marissa, what is it called again? It's called Cavanase, K-A-V-I-N-A-C-E. Search for it on Google. There's lots of places you can buy it. I get it now directly from one of those sites online that sells that kind of stuff. Somebody said pureformulas.com. Yeah. Ambien helps me sleep, works wonders. Yeah, it does. By the way, another thing I did not like, and somebody else is saying Cabernet is $78 for 120 capsules. I just discovered that the other day, so that's what I'm going to do next time. The problem with Ambien is your body builds up a resistance to it. So if you don't go off it periodically and kind of reset your system, at least this has been in my experience and a lot of the experience of my former doctor's patients, you just develop kind of an immunity to it. But I have not seen anything like that with Cabernet, and I've been on this about 8 months. Somebody says Lexapro is great. Not sure what that is. A lot of people struggling with Ambien. Yes, give yourself permission to sleep to be more productive. Michelle says, how does Cabernet make you feel right before you go to sleep? I can't notice any difference. You know, like with Ambien, if I waited too long, like if I took an Ambien and then it didn't get right into bed, I would get a little bit loopy. And Gail didn't like that. You know, she just felt like there was something about me that was altered that she didn't like. Cabernet's, nah, doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I've taken it and then discovered I had something to do, like in the middle of a product launch or something, and I had to keep working and didn't have any problem at all. Deep breathing, relaxing techniques, those absolutely work, and I still practice that. I really try to focus on my breathing when I'm going to sleep as well. I have many hours of sleep and still have a brain fog. Please help. Yeah, I don't know what to say there. I would probably look to your diet as well. You know, there's not like a miracle drug or a miracle cure. If you really want to be healthy, it takes focus on a lot of things. You know, and here's what I would ask. Are you getting adequate sleep? Like that would be my number one priority. Number two, are you getting regular exercise? That actually may be number three. Number two, I would say, is proper nutrition. Are you eating the right kind of food? Educate yourself on food. We are what we eat. And food is like a drug, and it affects our moods, it affects our sleep patterns, it affects our digestion, it affects our overall health. So all this is important. So Michelle again said, sleeping aids help me fall asleep but leave me feeling so sluggish and groggy in the morning. I'd be interested to know how Cabernet works for you, Michelle. You might just give that a shot. Obviously, somebody said, this is Heather, says, Coke at 11 p.m., not so smart. Absolutely. I mean, you got to be smart about this. You know, if you notice, for example, and by the way, when I was about 30, I could drink coffee right up to the point I went to bed. Didn't bother me. You know, I just went out like a baby. But I can't do that at all anymore. In fact, I can't drink coffee after about 2 o'clock in the afternoon or it'll keep me awake that night. So Her Life Project says, yes, food is one of the number one reasons for sleep disturbances. Anita says she wakes up every morning at 4 a.m. Another question, what do you do when traveling to and from different time zones? You know what I do is I always set my clock to the time zone where I'm going, and I will immediately be on that new time zone when I land, so that even if I have to stay up a little bit longer in that first day, somehow that resets my system and I'm okay. Somebody says, hi from Turkey. Great. Periscope Ryan says, my mind is always racing. Man, I totally get that. And I would, again, try this Cabernet and avoid the stimulants, you know, the distractions, like get rid of the screens, you know, right before you go to bed. Don't be watching TV. Don't be looking at your iPad. Don't be looking at your computer screen, because that kind of stuff can really stimulate it too. Somebody just got on from Romania, somebody from Russia. Iced tea, same thing, absolutely. Anything caffeinated, cola products, coffee, tea, you want to avoid those if you can, because those could very easily, sorry, I'm having to ban somebody here. I think I banned the wrong person. Let me see if I can fix that. Oops. Okay. So any other questions? It doesn't have to be about sleep per se. One of the things I didn't mention, but I really believe in, and if you've read any of my blog posts at michaelhyatt.com, you know that I'm a big advocate of naps. That's like my power tool. That's like my secret thing that gives me more energy in the afternoon. A lot of famous people have taken naps, including Winston Churchill, Ronald Reagan, John Kennedy, a lot of famous people. But my naps, and somebody just asked about the length. Somebody said, what about melatonin pills? I don't know. I've tried them in the past, but they're not as good as Cavanase. But the length of a nap, the ideal length is 20 to 30 minutes. If you sleep longer than that, you'll get into that deep REM sleep that makes you wake up feeling totally groggy and disoriented. So power naps are awesome. Some people say, yeah, but I can't get to sleep in 20 minutes. I get it. You may have to train yourself to do this. But lay there, and if nothing else, focus on your breathing, focus on relaxing your entire body, and if you'll do that, eventually you'll learn to fall asleep in that time. I can fall asleep in about 60 seconds. I'm not making that up. In the middle of the day, like after I get done with this scope, I'm going to go take a nap. I'm going to lay down for 20 minutes. I don't even need an alarm clock to get up. I just, boom. I get up and I feel totally refreshed. Have a cup of coffee. I'm done with coffee for the rest of the day after that, and I'm done. So Sean says, I can't fall asleep till 4 a.m. after getting home from work at midnight. Yeah, sometimes if you're really stimulated, like if I was doing this scope late at night, or sometimes I do webinars at night, I'm amped up for a couple of hours. So sometimes you just need a wind down period to be able to do that. Shelley says, hey, Michael. Hey, Shelley. Matt says, my coworker sleeps at work. You know, I used to take my naps at work. I did this for like 3 decades. So I would take the first part of my lunch hour. I could eat in about 20 minutes, and then I would go lay down for 20 minutes, and then I was done. And even when I didn't have a private office, I remember I had a consulting assignment one time that went on for about a year, and I would find, you know, just some place to lay down, a closet, an unused conference room, whatever, you know. So it's possible if you're creative enough. Andy Traub says his coworker is a pilot. Hashtag bad idea. Yeah, indeed. How long does caffeine stay in the body? I don't know. It may be different at different ages, but too long for me to drink any after about 2 p.m. Any tips for night shifters? Not really, other than the more you can routinize, is that a word? Create a routine that works for you, the better. I kind of see life as an experiment. So just test, you know, what works for you. If something's not working, don't just beat your head against the wall and settle for the status quo, but instead decide, no, I'm absolutely committed that I'm going to get a good night's sleep or a good day's sleep if you're a shift worker, and I'm going to figure this out. You know, this is not rocket science, and my theory on solving any problem like that is somebody somewhere in the world has solved this problem before. You know, it's not brand new to me. Somebody struggled with this and they've solved it. So, yeah. Michelle says earplugs help. They absolutely do. Somebody said caffeine lasts about 8 hours. Okay. Amy Jo says, I make homemade chai that has medicinal properties, tastes great, and got me off caffeine easily. Great. Any good books on sleep? I don't know. I would just go read if you want the Cliff Notes summary, go read the posts on my blog at michaelhyatt.com and read the posts I have on sleep and on naps. And I've got a really good search engine at michaelhyatt.com, and you can find it there. By the way, if you're just joining us, I'm Michael Hyatt, author of Platform Get Noticed in a Noisy World, and I blog at michaelhyatt.com. I also have a podcast, Season 5, Episode 1. We're going to publish that tomorrow. I think you're going to love it. We'll talk about it tomorrow in the Daily Mentor Show. Okay, Kevin says, joined late. Is reading before bed beneficial? Yes, provided it's the right kind of book. I don't think it helps to read a book that's going to really stimulate my thinking. Like if I read a business book that's full of ideas, I promise you, I will not go to sleep. I don't care how much Cavanase or Ambien or whatever else I've taken. That just doesn't work for me. If I read a novel and I kind of get lost in a story, provided it's not too scary, then that helps me sleep. But you got to kind of know yourself, and again, approach it as an experiment and what can work. What's an example book? Okay, so like if you want to read a great history book, read John Adams or 1778 by David McCullough. I love history. And that for some reason doesn't stimulate me in the same way that a business book will. Oh, the book, The Power of Full Engagement, is amazing. I just gave that to my Inner Circle Mastermind group in our last session. That's one of the most powerful books you could read. And it talks about really, managing time is not the issue. Managing your energy is the secret to productivity. Does night shift make you age faster? I don't know. It could. Kimberly says, snoring spouse suggestions other than pillow over his face. Wow. Yeah, you might, I would get a sleep study done. I know a lot of people who have gotten huge help by getting those breathing machines, and it's been good for them. It's been good for their spouse. They finally got a good night's sleep, both of them. How do I get rid of bags and dark circles? I don't know, but I think I would go to the Chalene Johnson show because she has great tips like that, and I'd ask her. I'm addicted to staying up late. What should I do? That's a great question. This is like any part of your life. If you want it to be better, you've got to design it. Are you satisfied with the status quo and just kind of drifting from one thing to the next? Or are you going to embrace your own agency, the fact that you have the opportunity to create the life you want? And the first question is, what do you want? Do you really want to stay up late? Do you want to not sleep well? My guess is probably not, otherwise you wouldn't be asking this question. So start with the intention. It's like that article I mentioned at michaelhyatt.com/sleep. Strategy number 1 is commit. Make a commitment that something's going to change in your life. You're going to get a good night's sleep and you're not going to settle for the same old again. Joey says, have you tried stretching your back before bed? Yeah, sometimes. I exercise every day, every morning, and sometimes I stretch at night, particularly if I've had a challenging session with my trainer. John says, if it isn't worth waking up early for, it's not worth staying up for. That sounds pretty profound. I have to think on that one a little bit. Somebody says, how about smoking pot? I don't know. I can't really address that. Somebody said, why would I smoke pot to fall asleep and wake up with less brain cells? I'm not going to comment on that. How do I stay asleep? I know that's a big problem for a lot of people. Some people, it's easy to get to sleep, but they have a hard time waking up. Some people, they just have a hard time staying asleep. And again, I would try this Kavanace product. And again, I don't have a dog in the hunt. I'm not an affiliate. I'm not compensated by them. Maybe I should think about that. No. But it's a great product. All righty. Yeah, somebody else just said Kavanace is awesome. How to get up from bed immediately. For me, this is like having a big reason to get up. I've got a do list, things that I really want to accomplish, things that really matter to me that I want to achieve. And I think sometimes the most important thing you can do to get up, assuming it's not a medical condition, is just have a life that you want to live. Do you really want to get up and live your life? Are there things you can't wait to do today? I jumped out of bed today because I've got about 3 or 4 things that I was super excited to do. And, admittedly, not every day is like that. Some days are harder than others. But the thing about it is, just by doing it and developing a habit, and it takes, a couple months to develop a habit typically, not 21 days like we used to think. I think that's been pretty much debunked. But it typically takes several weeks to a couple of months to develop a habit. And then it's like flossing for me. I can't not floss before I go to bed. So, somebody says, my back pain keeps me from getting more than 6 hours. Anything that could help? I don't. I would probably seek medical attention for something like that. So, well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you'll go read this post today. I think it can be hugely helpful to you. But if you're not sleeping well, my guess is that you're not as productive, as focused, or as healthy as you could be. So I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. I'm going to be on again at 12:30 Central Standard Time. We're calling this the Daily Mentor. I'd appreciate it if you'd use that hashtag when you tweet about it. But just thanks for showing up. I'm thrilled. All right. Have a great day.